All right. So question is, what are some of the most common misconception? मिसकंसेप्शन का मतलब ये होता है कि किसी चीज़ को बारे में बिना जाने बिना पूरा जाने हम उस चीज़ को बताने लगते हैं या हम उस चीज़ को एक तरह से ट्राई टू बी शो टू द मोस्ट ऑफ द पीपल कि ये ऐसा होता है वगैरह वगैरह, बट वो गलत है. ओके. तो what kind of like a something really misconception that we have. Okay, so there are some sort of things that I might think that ki those are misconception. Okay. Vaccine, like at this moment, right now we are in living in modern world, so usually vaccine is a kind of like a thing is associated with a medical term, and as also vaccine is a kind of like a thing that people most of people think that it's a kind of like a cure of medicine, it's a cure of human body and things like that. Okay. Yeah, we actually think about that in the modern world, but this is not the same case. Like if I went 50 year back, vaccine is a kind of like a particular people think about that it's not good. Okay, it's a kind of like a something really a zehar. Yeah. And the basic formula of vaccine is a kind of like a put in poison in your body. What is actually the vaccine you should supposed to understand first. Okay. So basically let's talk about polio. So what is actually the polio? Polio is a kind of like a something really bacteria virus. I'm not really sure about what is actually is this thing. Okay. So when you get polio, that means your some sort of organ will dysfunction. Okay, mostly leg. Okay, it have kind of like a something really like the bones are not that strong, so it became little bit of dysfunction. So when people has a polio is a kind of like a something really not good. I'm talking about from like a basically 100 or 200 years ago. Okay, then what is actually the then how is exactly vaccine work? like a in our body we have antibodies. Antibodies means kind of like a thing which is kind of like a harmful for your body. The antibodies create kind of like something really antibodies so that it can understand the enemy, and it can kind of like a create a cure by itself and try to prevent human body from that particular virus or particular bacteria. Okay. um so it's a, I don't know how do I supposed to say. Okay, let's example as a kind of like a something really very familiar way. Okay. So I am a kind of like a person, I should supposed to be protect my country. Okay, protect my country, a province, whatever. Okay, but there are other countries too. In the world there are other countries too. Okay. Basically some countries are invade another countries. Okay, but we could stop them if we know they are the strategies of fight, like how they fight and how we prevent ourselves from that particular. Just an example is that the some of the country has a soldier which has a kind of like a bow and arrow, but another country has a kind of like a something really a very modern weapon like a guns. So practically, which country will win? The country have a kind of like a soldier who has a gun. Obviously, they can win the war because they have a gun. All right. So how do we supposed to kind of like a prevent ourselves from that particular weapon, particular gun weapon? So we need kind of like a gun. If we have a gun, then probably they will not win, or might be we will try to protect ourselves. Like we won't be able to win the war because of bow and arrow. No, we need exactly kind of like a equivalent similar kind of like a weapon so that we could protect our country. Okay, so this is kind of like a same thing happen in your human body. So in your kind of like a world, like a kind of like a white blood cells, white blood cells, those are the cells are kind of like a prevent your bodies from kind of like a bacteria and virus and things like that. Okay. So what is that the vaccine does? Vaccine is a kind of like a something really give you a, kind of like a early, यानी आपको पोलियो पहले से दिया जाता है. लाइक बेसिकली दिस थिंग कि 5 साल पहले से ही आपको पोलियो दिया जाता है, उससे हमारी बॉडी में एक तरह से वो बैक्टीरिया जनरेट हो जाते हैं, उससे हमारी एंटीबॉडीज़ तैयार हो जाती है कि हमारे जीवन में अगर पोलियो का नाम का कोई वायरस या बैक्टीरिया आ जाता है, सो आवर एंटीबॉडीज कैन फाइट विद दैट पर्टिकुलर बैक्टीरिया एंड वी कुड प्रिवेंट फ्रॉम दैट पोलियो. सो दिस इज काइंड ऑफ लाइक अ थिंग्स हैपन एज अ वैक्सीन. इसी तरह से वैक्सीन दे जाते हैं. वैक्सीन इज अ काइंड ऑफ लाइक अ सम सॉर्ट ऑफ लाइक a poison but control way of poison. Inject a control way of poison to the human bodies, that is called little bit of vaccine. Okay, and it works. It definitely works. Okay, so that's why we have lots of vaccine regarding about chicken pox, regarding about um, covid virus, yeah, covid virus, then polios, lots of things. I am not really sure about the, but we have lots of. And as also at this moment, at this moment, in India, we don't really need a polio vaccine. Why? Because right now in our genetic is our kind of like a genetic. What do you mean by that? So I took the polio vaccine when I was child. Okay, but if my baby was born, I shouldn't supposed to give the polio vaccine. Why? Because that antibodies are actually transferred from generation to generation. Okay, so basically India is kind of like a completely free from the polio. Okay, so these are kind of like information that transfer from genetic to genetic, generation to generation. Okay, and that's why humans survive. Agar like if we didn't really invent the vaccine process, then probably the human extinction will kind of like happen so early. Okay, but yeah, we have that vaccine and things like that. But some people are kind of like really against to the vaccine. In the modern world, we are not. Like most of the people are actually welcome the vaccine and everyone supports that. But 100 years before, this is really not. ओके, यूरोप जैसे कंट्री में भी एक तरह से वैक्सीन के लिए बहुत ज़्यादा like most of people are not wants to be take the vaccine. Okay, so yeah, these are kind of like some sort of myth that कि because of the vaccine उससे लोग बीमार पड़ जाते हैं. हाँ, ये बीमार पड़ जाते हैं, but for the long term it's kind of like something really very good for the human health and things like that. Yeah, some people have misconception regarding about the vaccine, but that misconception happened for 100 year ago. अभी तो नहीं है. अभी we are in modern world, so yeah. Then evolution. So what is that? Is the evolution. So evolution is a kind of like something really very old. Like right now, this kind of like right now these are the kind of like a topic that I should supposed to be tell you. But let me tell you one thing. In modern world, we are familiar with the lots of process. Okay, I am kind of like a familiar about lots of process. Okay, what is that? Is the evolution. Okay, evolution का मतलब ये होता है कि we are not the human. Like basically, if I wanted to kind of like understand the how is exactly the first human look like, so obviously we are kind of like a look like a monkey. Okay, then evolution is actually kind of like a change little by little. Okay, we are started walking our two legs, then our fur is gone. Okay, so we became from homo sapien, sorry, sapien to homo sapien to, like these are the evolution na. Okay, like we have tail. Okay, almost like a millions of year ago that tail was gone. Okay, so these are the evolution happen. Okay, and these are just a physical evolution. Okay, but ये evolution की जगह just try to understand mutation, like a mutate, like we actually mutate our body from generation to generation. Mutate is a kind of like something really very perfect word for this particular. But a mutate is kind of like a thing is replicate a physical appearance. यानी monkey से man, from homo sapien to man, so it's a physical appearance. But evolution is kind of like a collect all the changes, it is what exactly happened regarding about how we talk, how we walk, how we think. Like basically is this thing. If I say human in kind of like a, some sort of evolution. Like if I categorize a human in particular evolution, and I just wanted to see them. So basically what we could see, first of all, there is a monkey, there is a man, there is a kind of like a in between man and monkey, then there is a man, then there is a kind of like a man who is actually having a kind of like a wood. Okay, then another man from kind of like a something really from 60s, then 70s, then people like basically our thought process, our costume, our everything is actually changed na. Okay, evolution is actually happening regarding about the way of thought, way of wear and way of everything. Okay, अभी मैं जिस तरह से मैं कपड़े पहन रहा हूँ, लाइक कपड़े इज ऑल्सो पार्ट ऑफ द एवोल्यूशन टू. ओके, आगे जाके 100 साल बाद we might be wear something very different, or might be we are kind of like putting some sort of chip in our brain so that we could analyze even more data and things like that. Okay, so evolution is actually happened, is actually happening by the way. Okay, but we don't really see it. Why we are not seeing it? Because let me tell you one thing, like you actually experience this kind of like a stuff but you didn't really know it. Like in your relatives there is a child, okay, who is kind of like a child, but when you see after a year, after almost like a 4 or 5 year, that child became kind of like a something really very adult. His height is enormously increased. लाइक पहले वो बंदा करीब 3 या 4 फीट का था, एक छोटा सा बच्चा जो करीब 6 या 7 साल का था, बट अभी मैं उसको करीब 16, करीब 10 साल या 5 साल बाद देख रहा हूँ, तो अभी वो बंदा करीब 6 फीट का हो गया. ओके, ही इज डिफरेंट मैन, लाइक उसका लाइक द काइंड ऑफ लाइक समथिंग रियली द वॉइस was very child 5 years ago, but right now his voice is became kind of like something really muscular. Okay, so these are kind of like a change that you see when you didn't really see that particular character for couple of years, then you find out that ki हाँ इसमें changes आ गए, those are the hormonal changes and things like that. Okay, so probably is this thing, if we didn't really see ourselves for couple of 100 years ago, and suddenly we just try to see a particular world or particular human, then we could see that ki hamari dunya, like I am from 100 year back, and this is a kind of like some sort of like a world that I'm actually expecting, but right now the things in front of me was completely different. So for me is everything is kind of like a evolution, like मेरे लिए तो सब कुछ change हो गया. It's evolution. Okay, evolution is not actually happened couple of years, no, it took decade, it took kind of like hundreds of centuries, then the evolution is actually happened. Most of people are not believe in evolution. Why? Because it's not in kind of like a religious stuff. According to the Bible, the first human was Adam, and he was looked like a man. Like in their particular story they didn't really mention a human look like a monkey, no, they specifically say that the first man on human is a Adam. He specifically give a Adam, then also give a first woman in the world is Eve, according to the Bible. Okay, why they didn't really know about these monkeys and things like that? Because at that time science was not that particular thing, science doesn't really exist that much. And another thing is that ki some sort of religious figure at that time, like I'm not actually blaming on specific religious by the way, but at that time most of people are not actually kind of like a thinking about evolution is exist, no, they are actually thinking about that ki human is exactly like that. Karib thousands of years ago human was exactly like that, and this is exactly we are. हम ऐसे ही है, everything is bitterly stagnant, but no. Okay, evolution is actually changed from generation to generation, and we knew that because we are in modern world, we have kind of like a complete history of humans, so that's why we understand the evolution, and as also we accept that evolution. But पहले ये misconception हुआ करता था कि people actually think about that कि like most of people don't really believe in evolution maybe. Okay, maybe. But it's just part of the thing. Might be I'm not really understand this concept properly, by the way. Then yeah, this is a kind of like a thing that I should supposed to give kind of like a, I don't know, but 500 year ago, or maybe, yeah, 500 or more than year ago, most of people thinks that our earth is a flat. Yeah, why does people think like that, flat? It's a also kind of like a something really misconception. Okay, because at that time we don't really have telescope. At that time we don't really have kind of like a something really a spaceship that goes to the outer sphere. And no, it's not. Okay, so whatever the information that we have, all those information from our ground. Okay, so most of people think that ki this is a kind of like a some sort of, we are the center of our universe. Okay, and in that universe our earth is kind of like a so much flat. और so much flat means like it's like we are the center, और हमारे आसपास यानी सूरज, तारे, अलग तरह के planets घूमते हैं. Okay, and we are the center. So it's a kind of like a something really misconception regarding about the flat earth. Okay, and I also understand that ki why we think about that flat earth, because of that ki we don't really have proper evidence to understand that. Some of the scientists, Galileo, I'm not really sure about the Galileo, but some of the scientists are actually tell us that the earth is not the flat, earth is a sphere. And we are not the center of the universe. Actually we are the part of the universe, and we actually revolve around the sun. But at that time that concept was completely against to the religious factor, because flat earth was a concept from the religious. So it's completely opposite to that. So most of the people are kind of like a neglect, or kind of like a something really like a, like it's against that particular concept. Okay, so yeah, but since the world grows, evolution and technology grows, we understand that yeah, this is actually exist. Yeah, so these are the things. Flat earth was kind of like a something really misconception. Then yeah, also there is also one misconception regarding about that. Sugar cause hyper creativity. Hyper creativity, yeah, hyper kind of like a something really that ki boost आ गए. Okay, hyper hyperactivity, sorry, no, not hyper creativity, hyperactivity. What do you mean by that, sugar cause you hyperactivity? So like have you ate glucose? Glucose tastes like sugar. Okay, most of the energy drink are kind of like a taste like sugar. Okay, why why is actually have that sugar, I'm not really sure about why they have a sugar. Okay, but usually this is kind of like a some sort of misconception regarding about sugar cause hyperactivity. Yeah, they taste like sweet, but it's not by sugar, it's by something really another minerals or things like that, I'm not really sure by the way. But yeah, one thing for sure is that ki sugar does not create, or sugar does not eh, create kind of like hyperactivity in our body. No, it's completely wrong term. Then yeah, this term is also really good. If we swallow the gum, it will take year to digest. This is also kind of like a something really misconception. Okay, uh, first of all let me tell you why this have misconception, and instead of like why we didn't really eat chewing gum. Okay, so yeah, there is a one thing that I wanted to say. Okay, chewing gum is really hard to digest in our digestive system, because the chewing gum has a kind of like a very composite mineral. Okay, composite, like basically what I'm trying to tell you, if we eat rice, or if we eat kind of like a something really whatever the things, in our digestive process our teeth can kind of like a something really crush the entire, convert into small small pieces. those small pieces are into the our liver. In our liver they have particular acid. I don't know what is exactly acid, but the enzymes are actually kind of like a dissolve entire process, entire food, and whatever the food is not really required for our body, they actually transfer to intestine, large intestine to small intestine, then through our anus we actually poop. Okay, so this is called, I'm not really sure about the proper term about the digestive system. I am not a medical student, but yeah, I do know a little bit about it. Okay, but this is the kind of like a some really misconception regarding about the gum. Gum is kind of like a little bit difficult to digest. Okay, yeah, but it's not, it will not take years. Okay, it will take, I'm not really sure, but might be, like basically I'm not really sure, but it will not take years, definitely not. It will take might be a week or maybe couple of days. Still not really sure, but it will definitely not take years. Okay, and why do we say this thing? Because of that, like still I am really not so sure. Like I don't know why we cannot eat chewing gum. Like a chewing gum is a kind of like a some sort of food that we can't eat. We just kind of like a get the essence of chewing gum. Okay, but we can't eat the chewing gum. Why we can't eat the chewing gum? Yeah, I just wanted to know why we can't eat the chewing gum. Okay, let's ask this question to the chat GPT. Okay, it seems there might be misunderstanding. Chewing gum doesn't seems to be recognized as food. If you meant to chewing gum, it's generally not meant to swallow because it can cause digestive issue. It isn't digested to be digest like a food. Okay, yeah, the same reason. Yeah, like basically is this thing. According to ChatGPT, um, chewing gum is kind of like a very difficult to digest, but yeah, it will digest, but it will not take years to digest. It will take couple of days or maybe couple of week or maybe a week. But yeah, chewing gum is not take years to digest. And yeah, basically this is kind of like a something really misconception they actually spread. उन्हें जानबूझकर ये सारी चीज़ें फैलाई क्योंकि कुछ लोग है ना च्युइंगम को खाने लग जाते हैं, एंड दैट इज़ नॉट रियली गुड फॉर देयर प्रोडक्ट. अगर लोग च्युइंगम खाने लगेंगे तो ऑब्वियसली इट विल टेक सीरियस injury for their health. So that's why they kind of like a something really share that misconception to the people, and it will become stagnant. Yeah, that conception misconception is also really important. कभी कभी हमें सही करने के लिए गलत रास्ता चुनना पड़ता है, and sometime it goes fine. All right, yeah, this is also really amazing interesting fact. Okay, you can use 10% of your brain. Okay, 10% of your brain. Is it kind of like a something really, well, technically is this thing that ki, okay, yeah, so technically what I'm trying to tell you is that our brain, like we actually, why we say that we are using our brain as a 10% or 20%. Yeah, or basically if we are using our brain 100%, then we became, we became a god. Is it, well, first I'm not really sure. Okay, first of all is this thing ki, how much we use our brain, like a 10% 20%. Okay, from my point of perspective, according to the science and according to things that I heard, still I also mention I am not kind of like something really expert in this thing, and I am not really sure about this thing what I'm saying. I just watch some sort of bunch of videos and I might have a conclusion with this thing. Okay, so our brain has so much neurons. What is the neurons? Neurons is a kind of like a something really the information transfer. Okay, like the way that the information transfer from one position to another position. Still not understand. Okay, so basically is this thing ki, if I hit something, I feel little bit of hurt at my hand. Okay, Why do I feel little bit of hurt in my hand? Because of that, the neurons are kind of like a spread all around our body, so that's why we feel the sensation. हमें senses feel होते हैं. Okay, if I have kind of like a something like prosthetic hand, then I might not feel anything regarding about what will happen to that prosthetic hand. No, nothing really at all. Okay, so our neurons is really going fast. The information that transfer from our organ to brain, it's actually kind of like a faster than light. Yeah, it is. Like, this is the only thing that I could say, that the information was transferred from our organ to brain is bitterly faster than light. Might be, not really sure. Still not say might. Okay, but yeah, it's very fast. Okay, so in our brain has so many neurons. Um, according to the still not sure. According to the things, according that I heard, it has almost like a trillions of neurons. Okay, trillions of neurons. Okay, the more neurons that we use in our brain, the brain can use that much amount of power. Okay, that much amount of like a, what is exactly the brain? Okay, brain is a kind of like a something really just a cluster of information. Just try to understand the simple term. Okay, and it has every information regarding about what exactly happened in the past, what exactly happened yesterday, what exactly, and it actually showing you a kind of like a some sort of experience. Okay, and that experience kind of like a telling you that what should you supposed to do and what should you not supposed to do. Okay, that's how our brain is kind of like a something really understand that ki what is our priority and what is not our priority. Okay, it's a lot of things, but still our brain has so many neurons which is inactive. Okay, inactive का मतलब होता है कि they didn't really process, like the neurons they are exist but they are not that kind of like a something really, like they are not working that much, or maybe we are not using our neurons that much. Like, why we are not using, like while I was working really hard, like while I was running really hard, but still why we can't use a full capacity of neuron? I'm not really sure. I am not really sure why we are not use full capacity of neurons. So that's why most of people says that ki we are actually using 10% of brain. How much how much true is this thing? Um, is it some certain true, some certain not true? It's a kind of like a things in between. Okay, okay, it's a yeah, it's like that ki we still, yeah, we are not using our brain of full capacity of brain, but is this thing ki we might are using. Okay, let me tell you one thing, what is at least this thing. Okay, so uh because our technology, because right now we are actually in the modern world, we think about lot of stuff about like a space, scientific discoveries, things that. Okay, what I'm trying to tell you is that ki at this time in 2024 we have lots of things to think. यानी हमारे पास बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं उसके बारे में सोचने के लिए. ओके, but if I went 1,000 year ahead, a 1,000 year before, then I don't really have anything to think. यानी उस ज़माने में या 1,000 साल पहले मेरे पास ज़्यादा सब्जेक्ट नहीं थे जिसके बारे में ज़्यादा सोचूं या जिसके बारे में ज़्यादा या सोच सकूं. ओके, so that's why we don't really have that much technology thousands year before, but at this time we have lots of technology. So how we change from that to that is that we actually started thinking about why is, like we are actually started doing question about this, that ये क्यों होता है, ये क्या होता है, इससे क्या होता है. Okay, so is this thing is that our brain are actually meant for kind of like asking questions to ourselves. Okay, and yeah, as a human ask so many questions to ourselves, and as a human find those answer, and when we find those answer, we actually evolved ourselves. Okay, so that's why another species didn't really evolve that much, but as a human are evolve. Like a dolphin has a bigger brain, so many neurons. It can do like a dolphin is a way much smarter than human. But why dolphin doesn't really create that much? Why then they didn't really evolve? We evolve. Why? What? Like how? What is actually the what human has a special kind that we survive in this thing? He's just saying कि we have very important thing is that कि we are brain, okay, and as also we need some certain things to work with the brain. That means we have hand, we have leg. I'm not really sure, still not understand this thing कि why is this thing वगैरह वगैरह. But back to the question is that कि do we use 10% of our brain? Well, there is a one thing that ki we are not using fully 100% of our brain. Yeah, we are not using. That is true fact. Okay. But I am not actually kind of like a saying this thing by the percentage level, like a 10% or 20%. I'm not really sure because I am not really sure about that ki how much we could do with your brain. Like what is really the potential? Like what can we do with this our brain? Our brain has a so much capacity about things and that, but I'm not really sure. Okay, I won't be able to convert this sentence in a percentage level, that ki how much percentage that we use our brain. But one thing for sure is that ki we are not using our brain completely, or yeah, you know what I mean. All right, so then also another thing is that, okay, so cold weather cause common cold. इज इट ट्रू? लाइक क्या ठंड पड़ने से हमें सर्दी होती है? क्या ये ट्रू है? According to ChatGPT, the idea that exposed to the cold weather directly cause the common cold is a misconception. Cold are caused by the virus, and while they may be more common in a colder months, it's due to factor like indoor crowding and close contact, not the temperature itself. Yeah, according to ChatGPT, they also mentioned that key like this is also happened because of the virus and bacteria. It's not meant to be happen with the weather condition. No, but our body reacts with the weather. Okay, हमें ठंड लगती है, हमें स्वेटर पहनते हैं. Okay, so yeah, those are the things are actually matter. Yeah, and as also our thought process, अगर हम सोचते हैं कि ठंड लगने से हमें सर्दी हो पड़ती है, और मैं सोचता हूँ कि मुझे अभी अगले महीने अगर ठंड पड़ेगी तो मुझे सर्दी हो जाएगी, तो डेफिनेटली यू विल फील दैट मच कोल्ड. सो इट्स ऑल्सो काइंड ऑफ लाइक अ समथिंग रियली दैट कि might be this sentence is 50% true, 50% false, or maybe 100, like still not sure. Okay, it's actually work on different with a different kind of person. अगर एक आदमी सोचता है कि वो कोई बीमार नहीं पड़ सकता, उसे सर्दी वगैरह कुछ होती नहीं है, then he will not might face that much common cold या सर्दी. It's a I'm like it's a kind of like a things that I'm not really sure. Like most of the things, like I don't know why in this artifact I say this word. I'm not really sure. But yeah, this is also really I'm not really sure about this thing. Yeah, bananas are trees. What? These are the misconceptions. Despite their tree-like appearance, bananas grow on Ardbrocus plant, not tree. The trunk of the banana plant is a pseudonym compared to the tightly packed of leaf. Well, I haven't really heard that misconception, so I'm not really sure about this thing. So these are the misconception that we sorry 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 these are the misconception that we heard in our past history. Okay, some are true, some are not true, some are kind of like in between true or false. And also the information that I tell is also might not true, or also some true, some not true. It's a kind of like a thing that the information that we have is a relative. Like, what is actually the relative? Okay, let me tell you what is actually this thing. Okay, so our thoughts is actually a very relative. Relative का मतलब होता है कि sometimes we could say things about that particular subject. Like, if I just try to simplify this version. Okay, uh like I like ice cream. Okay, so I went to the ice cream store and I ate ice cream. I ate a bunch of ice cream. Okay, so before I went to ice cream store, my decision was I like the ice cream. But after I ate my ice cream, do you like ice cream? Uh yeah, I like ice cream, but it's just like my stomach is full. Okay, but question is about that. Do you like ice cream? Uh yeah, I like ice cream. Okay. Then next day you went to the ice cream store and you ate ice cream. Okay. And after you ate the ice cream, I asked same question. Do you like ice cream? You still say, yeah, I like ice cream. Yes. I repeat that particular thing on third day. And at the third day I say, do you like ice cream? At that time that I might say that ki, like, I ate ice cream from last 3 or 4 days. At this time I don't really like the ice cream. So basically our entire shift was changed from like to dislike. यानी 4 दिन पहले मैं आइसक्रीम अच्छी लगती थी मुझे, बट 4 दिन बाद अभी मुझे आइसक्रीम अच्छी नहीं लगती. वाई? बिकॉज ऑफ दैट कि द एंटायर प्रोसेस, लाइक बेसिकली अगर हमें किसी चीज़ को बहुत ज़्यादा ओवर एक्सपोज किया जाए, ओवर एक्सपोज का मतलब बहुत ज़्यादा दिखाया जाए, बहुत ज़्यादा कंज्यूम किया जाए, तो हमें वो चीज़ अच्छी नहीं लगती. इट्स नॉट ओके. सो आवर थॉट्स आर काइंड ऑफ लाइक समथिंग रिलेटिव. यानी एक तरह से ये चेंज हो जाते रिगार्डिंग अबाउट आवर इमोशंस, रिगार्डिंग अबाउट द टाइम, रिगार्डिंग अबाउट वट एवर द थिंग्स. जस्ट एन एग्जाम्पल कि बचपन में मैं गुपचुप या गोलगप्पे बहुत ज़्यादा खाता था क्योंकि मुझे बहुत अच्छे लगते थे. अभी एट दिस एज, लाइक आई एम 30, आई डिडंट रियली लाइक गोलगप्पे दैट मच. मुझे ये गोलगप्पे उतने अच्छे नहीं लगते. Like, I didn't really overexposed by the golgappe, or I haven't really ate golgappe every day since. No, but regarding about, like, basically मेरी उम्र के साथ मेरी टेस्ट भी चेंज हो जाती है. ओके. इट ऑल्सो काइंड ऑफ लाइक इंक्लूड विद द गेम्स. ओके. बचपन में मैं बहुत ज़्यादा गेम्स खेलता था. आई वॉज सो एक्साइटेड अबाउट प्लेइंग गेम्स. अभी मैं उतना ज़्यादा गेम्स नहीं खेलता हूँ. Yeah, like, I like to play games and I play just for like right now I'm kind of like a focus on my content creation. For the content creation I like to play game. Okay. Yeah, but is this thing like that ना कि पहले मैं जिस enthusiastic से गेम खेलता था, for that Mario, Adventure Iceland or Need for Speed Most Wanted, was really incredible. The dopamine I get from playing game was really next level. But at this time I don't really get that much. I don't really feel that much special. Okay. These are the things, dude. Okay. शादी करने से पहले हमारी गर्लफ्रेंड अच्छी लगती है हमें, उसके साथ टाइम बिताना अच्छा लगता है. बट शादी के 5 साल बाद सेम लड़की, वही इंसान आपको बोर लगती है. इट डजंट लुक राइट. इतनी ज़्यादा अट्रैक्टिव, इतनी ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंस नहीं लगती आपको. सेम थिंग इज़ दैट कि किसी चीज़ को ओवर एक्सपोज किया जाए तो हमें वो चीज़ की वैल्यू कम हो जाती है. हमारे डिसीजंस में वैल्यू की एक तरह से रिलेटिविटी चेंज हो जाती है. वी एक्चुअली चेंज एंड हैज़ ऑल्सो. ओके, चलो मान लेते हैं. मेरी गर्लफ्रेंड है, सॉरी, मेरी गर्लफ्रेंड है और मैं उस लड़की को बहुत चाहता हूँ. ओके. और आई हैव सो मच वैल्यू फॉर हर. Okay, I also took care of her, like took care means like that, like I really like this girl. Okay, फिर 2 साल रिलेशनशिप चला, हमारी शादी हो गई। शादी के बाद हम साथ रहने लगे। ओके, देन शादी के 5 साल बाद आई डोंट रियली फील दैट मच काइंड ऑफ लाइक समथिंग रियली कि उतना ज़्यादा जितना यानी जितना प्यार मैं पहले उस लड़की से करता था, अभी मैं उस लड़की से उतना ज़्यादा प्यार नहीं करता। वो लड़की सेम है। ओके, कोई चेंजेस नहीं हुआ है, नथिंग रियली एट ऑल, बट आफ्टर 5 ईयर आई वो प्यार थोड़ा सा कम हो गया। ओके, एंड सडनली कम कम होते वी वेंट टू डिवोर्स। ओके, हमारा डिवोर्स हो गया। एट द डिवोर्स आई डिडंट लाइक हर, मेरा पर्सपेक्टिव पूरी तरह से चेंज हो गया। लाइक एट द एज ऑफ 22 मैं उस लड़की को बहुत ज़्यादा चाहता था। एट द एज ऑफ 42 आई डिडंट रियली लाइक दैट। 20 साल बाद हमारा एक तरह से पूरी चेंज हो गया रिगार्डिंग अबाउट थिंग्स दैट आई लाइक। अभी डिवोर्स होने के बाद 5 साल आई हैवंट रियली सीन हर, मैंने उसको देखा नहीं, उसने मुझे देखा नहीं। सडनली आई सी हर एट समवेयर पार्टी। ओके, और वो बहुत खूबसूरत दिखने लगी थी। ओके, एंड व्हेन आई सी हर I started liking her. I don't know why, but yeah, I just liking her. यानी what I'm trying to tell you is that कि 20 साल तक वो लड़की आपके साथ थी, वो काफ़ी ओवर एक्सपोज करती थी, उससे हमारे हमारे मन में उसके लिए वैल्यू बहुत कम हो गई। बट सिंस आई गॉट डिवोर्स एंड सिंस आई हैवंट रियली सीन हर, 5 साल के बाद मैंने उस लड़की को किसी इवेंट में देखा, एंड व्हेन आई सी हर मेरे मन में उसके लिए अरमान जाग गए। आई स्टार्टेड लाइकिंग दैट गर्ल। तो हमारा एक तरह से उस लड़की को लाइक करने वाला जो एक तरह से जो ग्राफ था, पहले वो नीचे गया क्योंकि वो मुझे पसंद नहीं आती थी। 5 साल बाद सडनली एक तरह से उसको देख के मुझे अच्छा लगने लगा। व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू टेल यू इज दिस थिंग, हमारे डिसीजंस आर रिलेटिव। हमारे डिसीजन एक तरह से रिलेटिव होते हैं। हम डिसीजंस को एक तरह से एज अ रिलेटिव रहते हैं, इट्स नॉट स्टैगनेंट। ओके, यानी ये नॉर्थ पोल है तो ये नॉर्थ पोल ही रहेगा, ये साउथ पोल है तो ये साउथ पोल ही रहेगा। वट एवर इट हैपन इट इज़ ऑलवेज बी देयर। ये स्टैगनेंट है। हमारे थॉट्स, हमारे फीलिंग, हमारे इमोशंस, द थिंग्स दैट वी सेड इज नॉट ए स्टैगनेंट until and unless we actually put this thing in kind of like a some sort of stagnant level. What is it, stagnant level? अगर मैं सोचता हूँ कि दीज आर द काइंड ऑफ लाइक थिंग्स, यानी जस्ट एन एग्जाम्पल इज दैट कि आइंस्टाइन जनरल रिलेटिविटी थ्योरी। ओके, तो द इंफॉर्मेशन दैट ही हैज़, ही वॉज कम्प्लीटली श्योर दैट कि एक सम सर्टन एंटिटी है जिसकी बहुत ज़्यादा ग्रेविटी है, बहुत एक्सट्रीम लेवल की ग्रेविटी है। आइंस्टाइन नोज दैट कि दिस इज काइंड ऑफ लाइक समथिंग विल हैपन, सो ही रोट दोज पेपर एंड दोज पेपर आर काइंड ऑफ लाइक अ स्टैगनेंट, यानी उन्होंने जो कहा वो बिल्कुल सही निकला। इन 2019 वी फाउंड द एविडेंस ऑफ ब्लैक होल। ओके, सो if we know a particular thing which is kind of like a something really very flexible, very kind of like a stagnant, ये बिल्कुल एग्जैक्ट सही है तो ये सही ही है, यानी उसके लिए हमें एक तरह से पब्लिश करना पड़ता है, हमें पेपर। ओके, हमें डॉक्यूमेंट करना पड़ता है। एग्जाम्पल, लोगों को मारना बुरी बात है। ओके, ये एक हमारा डिसीजन है। ओके, और ये एक तरह से अभी स्टैगनेंट हो गया है। You went to any country, okay? दुनिया में आप कहीं भी चले जाओ, आप लोगों को नहीं मार सकते। लाइक अगर आपने किसी इंसान को चाकू देके चाकू घूसा मार दिया, यू वोंट बी एबल टू डू दैट। ओके, और क्यों नहीं कर सकते? क्योंकि ये बुरी चीज़ है। ओके, अभी ये स्टैगनेंट हो गया, बट करीब 200 साल पहले ये चीज़ काफ़ी कॉमन हुआ करती थी। कोई भी इंसान किसी को भी मार देता है, नो वन रियली केयर। बट एट दिस टाइम वी अंडरस्टैंड द कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस ऑफ डूइंग इट दैट अभी हमें उस चीज़ को स्टैगनेंट करनी है, यानी हमें उस चीज़ को फिक्स करनी है कि लोगों को मारना बुरी बात है। ओके, सो दैट्स व्हाई वी इम्प्लीमेंट इन लॉज अ रूल। वो रूल एक तरह से हमें सिखाती है कि ये चीज़ गलत है, ये चीज़ एक तरह से स्टैगनेंट है, इट शुडंट सपोज टू बी हैपन। लोगों को मारना बुरी बात है। Okay, so that's why human works. That's why the information that, but what I'm trying to tell you, like, why am I saying this thing? The points about that, ये key things that I say in this thing, that कि what are the misconception about this and that ये मेरे thoughts से, okay, and might be that thought will change in the future. शायद ये चेंज भी हो सकते हैं रिगार्डिंग अबाउट द इंफॉर्मेशन, रिगार्डिंग अबाउट द एक्सपीरियंस दैट आई विल गेट इन द फ्यूचर. ओके, तो आप इस चीज़ को स्टैगनेंट मत मानना कि हाँ मैंने इस चीज़ को कहा है तो ये स्टैगनेंट है, ये फिक्स है. नो, इट्स नॉट. इट्स अ रिलेटिव. ओके, इट्स अ रिलेटिव. It change according to the time, it change according to some certain situation, it change according to the knowledge or experience. All right, yeah, all right, so this is it, and thank you.